Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited, FAA EASA certifies Cessna Turbo Skyhawk JT-A. Enstrom making progress towards TH-180 certification. Japanese pilot flies zero over Japan. Hello, I'm Laura Hudson. It's June 9th and this is Airborne Unlimited. The FAA and EASA have certified the Cessna Turbo Skyhawk, paving the way for deliveries to customers in Europe and the U.S. The company also announced the aircraft equipped with the Continental CD-155 engine and has exceeded initial performance targets, including improved maximum range. The Turbo Skyhawk JT-A is a factory option that includes an integrated power plant, propeller, and cockpit upgrade package. The Skyhawk platform represents the most successful single-engine aircraft of all time, and we're excited to further enhance its capabilities with Jet-A power plant technology, said Doug May, Vice President of Piston Aircraft. The Turbo Skyhawk JT-A has achieved an improved range of 963 nautical miles, an increase of 78 nautical miles over original estimates. The aircraft has also reached an improved takeoff distance of 1,320 feet and a max climb rate of 767 feet per minute. The advanced 155 horsepower turbo diesel Continental CD-155 features direct fuel injection and a dual-channel full authority digital engine control driven by a single power lever. The engine burns globally available Jet-A fuel and improves the standard Skyhawk's performance. At 963 nautical miles, maximum range increases by 50% over the standard Skyhawk, and maximum speed is increased to 134 knots. There are over 44,000 Skyhawks in worldwide service. Enstrom reports that it's making progress in its certification program for the TH-180 helicopter. The program currently has 2 prototype aircraft in the certification program. One is in flight tests and the other is engaged in a 100-hour ground run, testing the drive system and controls. Several tests have been completed, and the program is steadily progressing towards certification by the end of this year. Enstrom, together with its ownership in China, continues finalization of the design based on results from the development flight test program. Flight training of the TH-180 will continue to ramp up as test plans are completed and approved by the FAA. Enstrom is working closely with the FAA and EASA for the concurrent certification of the TH-180. The TH-180 will provide a safe, reliable, efficient, and best value solution for the piston-powered light helicopter training market, and we look forward to completing the certification program with the airworthiness authorities, said Orlando Alanis, a TH-180 co-program manager and director of sales and marketing. After the break, a Japanese pilot flies a restored zero over Japan.
Concorde's recombinant gas RG series sealed battery technology produces a high-performance battery with the advantages of being pre-tested and fully charged at the factory. Find out more about Concorde's entire line of batteries at www.concordebattery.com. Concorde, the heart of your aircraft.
The dream is real, a truly affordable personal jet aircraft. The Subsonics Personal Jet Kit is priced at only $42,000. Kit plus engine is still under $100K. Add instruments, upholstery, and paint and you're flying. It's time to put your money where your bucket list is. Learn more at SonicsAircraft.com.
Welcome back. A Japanese pilot flew a restored Model 22-0 over Japan for the first time since the end of World War II on Saturday. While there have been other Zero flights in the Japanese airspace since the war ended, all have been flown by Americans. The pilot was 66-year-old Kazuaki Yanagida, who flew the airplane in a special demonstration over Tokyo Bay during the Red Bull Air Race. He made 3 passes over the bay. The aircraft is owned by Japanese entrepreneur Masahide Ishizuka, 56, who keeps the Zero in the United States. It is one of only 4 airworthy examples of the aircraft known to exist. For the past 10 years, Ishizuka has been spearheading the Zero Homecoming project, which hopes to have the aircraft flying at several locates in Japan. He said that flights are good opportunities to think about peace. There were nearly 11,000 Zeros built during World War II. This particular airplane was found in New Guinea, where Ishizuka was residing at the time. It had been restored to an airworthy condition by its American owner. Ishizuka purchased the plan for just under $3 million. It was then that he launched the Zero Homecoming project. It's Friday, and that means it's time for A&N CEO and Editor-in-Chief Jim Campbell to check in with his weekly barnstorming commentary. The President's announcement supporting long-fought concepts embracing ATC privatization is the latest attack on the future of aviation, and it must be opposed effectively, collectively, and furiously, or watch the future of aviation become even more endangered. Here's this week's barnstorming.
Thanks, Laura, and hi, folks. Well, the other shoe has dropped. We've been expecting for quite some time that the current administration would make a significant and concerted effort to bring privatization of the air traffic control system about, and it's obvious that President Trump has decided to make this a major objective. Finally, we know where we stand, especially in light of the fact that we see Schuster as the background architect for much of what President Trump is proposing. It didn't work before when he tried to propose it. It's not going to work this time. I think we've got a reasonable chance of defeating it within the current legislative calendar. However, beyond that, it's anybody's guess. Like anything this administration does a whole lot better once it has a chance to gauge the opposition, tweak things, and fine-tune their proposals after they've gotten into a bit of a kerfuffle. And yeah, a kerfuffle is in the works here. But let's talk about this. ATC privatization is a solution in search of a problem. The ATC system is not broken. It isn't as modern as it could be. It's not as fast as it can be. It'd be a lot of things, but if you look at the rest of the world, it's the best there is. And of the few dozen privatized systems out there that the president refers to, none of them reach the scope or the complexity of what we have right now. And for us to take something that the taxpayers bought and paid for many years and give it to a private entity and have that entity be controlled in large part by the airlines and by the unions, who of course can raise the salaries of the unionized employees a whole lot easier under these circumstances than otherwise, and have only one known devoted seat to all of GA and other seats devoted to various governmental functions, well, it's a mix that just doesn't bode well for the rest of us. But more important than anything else right now, we know what the problem is, we know how to fight it, we know how to pick holes in it. But what will the industry do about it? Are the associations you support fighting this as aggressively as they can be? And there's some real questions about that, especially with some major players. Is this industry communicating and cooperating sufficiently to be able to present a united front? Better effort than we've seen in a while, but nowhere near what's going to be needed. And finally, does this industry really have the fortitude and the power to be able to impress Washington with the fact that not now, not ever, no how, it isn't going to work? We need to look at ourselves, we need to look at the industries around us, we need to look at our organizations and associations, and we need to demand that they come together, that they work effectively, that they work cohesively and cooperatively, and most important, be able to field the kind of fight that will make Washington think again. We are too fractionalized, too separated, and too confused to be able to put together a fight that will survive Washington for much longer. Now is the time for us to gather together. It doesn't matter if A is competing with B or B is competing with C association-wise and everybody's wondering where their members are coming from. What really matters is this: will there be an aviation to serve in the future? And if it isn't this problem, there'll be another one coming around the corner. We need now, more than ever, to get together, to work collectively, to cooperate, to synergize, and be ready for the foes that will oppose us. If not now, then there will not be a tomorrow. Now's the time to fight. For the Aero-News Network, Airborne, and Aero-TV, I'm Jim Campbell.
After these messages, SpaceX Snags X-37B launch.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
The Bristol Light Sport aircraft is what you are looking for. The Bristol is wider than a Cirrus, faster than a Skyhawk, offers more storage than a Husky, and comes standard with Garmin avionics. So what are you waiting for? Visit Bristol.com to find out how you can get into a Bristol today.
Welcome back. With so much news coming out of the aviation industry, we're summarizing some other interesting stories in a brief segment we call Around the Patch. SpaceX has apparently scored a plum assignment from the U.S. Air Force. The next time the Air Force's secretive X-37B is launched, it will ride to orbit on SpaceX Falcon 9 booster. SecAF Heather Wilson says SpaceX will be sending the next Air Force payload up into space in August, and later confirmed that the payload would be on the X-37B. Yuneec International has announced that Michael Jung has joined the company as Global Chief Executive Officer. Michael has more than 26 years of ICT industry experience in management, including cross-cultural enterprise experience, leading research and development, product, service, marketing, and sales teams. An AD affecting NavWorx Inc. ADS-B Universal Access Transceiver Units has been published as a final rule. This AD requires removing, disabling, or modifying the unit. This AD was prompted by a design change that results in the unit communicating unreliable position information. The actions in this AD are intended to address an unsafe condition on these products. The FAA estimates that this AD affects approximately 800 ADS-B units. CAE announced at the 2017 International Air Transport Association Annual General Meeting that the first 9 AirAsia-sponsored CAE multi-crew pilot licensed cadets who have graduated in 2011 and who have since been flying as first officers on the airline's Airbus A320 are now flying as captains. The cadets celebrated this key milestone in May 2017. Part of NAA's mission is identifying and recognizing those who have contributed to the art, sports, and science of aviation and spaceflight in the United States. The nomination period has opened for the following awards: Wright Brothers Memorial Trophy, Wesley L. McDonald Distinguished Statesman of Aviation Awards, Frank G. Brewer Trophy, Public Benefit Flying Awards, and the Harmon Trophy. Well, that's it for today's trip around the patch. Now let's move on to the rest of the news. Visitors to AirVenture 2017 will be treated to a tremendous cross-section of bombers, including what we expect to be the first joint appearance of 2 flyable B-29s in decades, more than a dozen B-25s, and now 2 from the U.S. Air Force's current inventory, the Boeing B-52 Stratofortress and the Rockwell B-1 Lancer. The massive 8-engine B-52, known as the Buff, is the backbone of the U.S. strategic bomber fleet and is expected to remain so for decades. When it finally retires sometime in the mid-2040s, the type will have been in active service for an incredible 90 years, having been introduced in February of 1955. This only marks the second time that a B-52 will be displayed at AirVenture. First flown in 1974, the swing-wing Rockwell B-1 Lancer, affectionately known as the Bone, didn't enter service until 1986. The project was famously canceled in 1977, then restarted 4 years later. The B-1 is sleek, maneuverable, and fast, capable of Mach 1.25. It's the only supersonic strategic bomber in the U.S. inventory. There's never any one thing that defines a particular AirVenture, but to many, 2017 may be remembered as the year of the bomber. Well, that's our program for today. Remember that Airborne Unlimited is streamed daily Monday through Friday, with additional breaking news bulletins for important stories that fall outside of our normal deadlines. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe, and do check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. Have a great weekend and see you Monday.